Hey folks, Moosetro here with another episode of Factorio. We're hanging out on Vulcanus and we just finished getting the research done for the last belt type. What is it? Turbo transport belt. And I think what we need to do is start considering how to get those things up and running. I can do a light recipe for it for now, but I haven't set up any smelting, I don't know, foundry arrays, I guess, to really ramp up production. So we're going to first make something really simple. We'll have you be duplicated and you're just going to be grinding those out. And those will be made so that what we can do is have some belts on hand before we ramp this production up. So we want to sort of copy this idea over here and change our recipe so that box matches that, and change this to belts. Okay, so we've changed the MAM queue to include yellow belts and red belts, which will then be converted into blue belts, and the blue belts will be converted into turbo belts. This is going to definitely increase our iron demands, which means we should get our iron array up and running. So what I'm thinking is that we will start our first smelting column right here, and we'll move in that direction. Oh, that does interfere with that upper end of coal. Wonder if I should be pulling coal off of the top of that line. I think that this coal here will be just fine. We'll have the iron, copper, and steel be able to go down those lines, and we should be able to put miners close enough to absorb all of that coal. Almost all of it. It goes up to, looks like, just under that belt. So yeah, the miner should be able to grab the last bit of coal there. And just to be safe, we'll get these guys chipping away at that coal before we probably need that line. Alright, so for these inserters, we're going to be picking up 60 items a second. It looks like right now they're able to handle 12, so I think 5 of these should be enough to drain a line into chests. We'll set the chest for the filter to grab iron plates, and that should be enough to completely drain a turbo belt. Thinking through the modules for this, I was thinking productivity modules, which would decrease the amount of resources needed, but we kind of have an unlimited amount of resources from our lava. So the next thing would be talking about speed, but I don't think speed is a problem since we're essentially going to be filling a belt. So I think what we can do is stick the energy modules in there. Do I not have those on me? Maybe I don't have any energy modules. Okay, I think that should work. Okay, I think I've worked out how this should lay out. I don't know if it's necessarily the best, but these are now producing more than enough molten iron to satisfy the 16 of these, which will then fill a belt. We have molten lava coming in, and it hits all 4 of these guys. We're good. The bots drop off the calcite to keep it alive, and each one of these will dump rock onto the belt. This one dumps on the inside, this one dumps on the outside. The rock is then converted into stone to condense it, not stone, into landfill to condense it. This one over here I wasn't able to quite get on the same belt, so I've set up a second system over here, and I don't know if I totally like that. Maybe it's worth just having that one. I don't think this is entirely necessary. We'll see if it starts to plug up. But we have the module or the array set up. And I think all we need to do now is we need to connect it to some sort of lava input. These pumps produce 1200 per second. These absorb 180, so that's 360, that's 720. So one pump can more or less provide for 4 of these. But we'll go with the 3 pumps to set up 3 arrays. Did I do that math right? Double check. 180 times 4 is 360, 720, 720. That's going to be one of these. Well, 1 per array. We'll just do that. Okay. Those are doing. We have iron flowing. I don't want to quite get the iron flowing, so I'm going to turn that off for now. We can disassemble this guy because he was just a temporary. So we can just copy that. Copy. All of that. Looks like we have some cliffs to blow up. Hopefully we are still producing cliff explosives. I know I took my ability to do that offline temporarily. But it looks like we still have cliff explosives because we still have some dynamite left. That's good. Now what we can do is the same thing, but for copper. I think actually to avoid the crossing, I'm gonna... Yeah, we're gonna have the iron be the bottom of those 3. I think we've got the copper lines running. What's going on here? Why aren't these guys getting there? What's the story? Something's up. Copper's coming in. Oh, no. I set this up wrong. This guy should be making copper plates. There we go. Now we're doing it. Sweet. You're doing what we want. We can reconnect these lines. And demo that. We're going to want a second copper array. Okay. Did I make a misstep? 6. Oh, jeez. I didn't make enough. I thought I counted that. Crap. Okay, I fixed it so that it's a full belt. Oh, jeez. But the benefit of this full belt now is I actually think it looks a little bit cleaner on the top end in the way that things interact. So that's good, I guess. All right, and we've got the bots now upgrading these all to the turbo belts. We've made them the full length. We still have a bit of, we need another foundry over here, and we need to connect the hot sauce through. Hot sauce. Take a little bit of the metallurgy science back to Nauvis. I wonder what we could research next. I think we got the asteroid processing done, so we should upgrade that. And I think maybe we will start getting LDS. I think this gives me the ability to make LDS in the foundries. Alright, we've got a problem here. My lubricant is not getting to where it needs to go. And this is probably a problem with my heavy oil cracking. Not my heavy oil cracking, but my coal liquefaction. Let's troubleshoot that. So maybe it's because I'm not using my petroleum up, which is causing the petroleum to be backed up, which means my coal liquefaction is not able to spit out any heavy oil. The heavy oil's in there. Boy, what is the problem? Alright, so I created a failsafe here. We've got these two extra guys, and I don't know, maybe it's worth doing more than just the two, but we'll see if this thing winds up producing enough to keep the machines running. I have a feeling it's not. But we have the lubricant is running now. Boy, I really don't like it. Yeah, I gotta figure something better out. Always getting sidetracked with parts of the factory seizing up. Here's what we do. We see how much lubricant just these three machines are producing or consuming, and they're consuming 326 lubricant per second, which means we need to be producing at least 326 lubricant per second. And right now, we are absolutely not producing 326 lubricant per second. Wowzers! We are way underproducing that if we want to keep those things running. So I thought about the things that I'm going to be producing that require lubricant, and I think what I should do is design to be able to accommodate that, which is 808 lubricant per second if I want to keep those running 24/7. That is a lot of lubricant. So we have to think about how to accomplish that. Okay, I went back over here and I wanted to think about this. This is going to be putting out 12 belts per second if I run it completely 24/7. I looked at my novice base and I found that I have made roughly 34,000 belts over my entire gameplay, which is about 8 per second. So if this ran at 75% speed, I would be working at about the same rate that I lay belts down. I think I could even cut this down to 50% speed because I'm not going to be using this type of belt everywhere. So 50% speed would be, we want to use 50%, which would be about 400 needed lubricant. And a single one of these machines, unmodded, produces 10 per second. Boy, 10 per second? Ooh, 400 even unmodded is a lot. Okay, I think I've laid out something. I use the speed modules to speed it up, and right now they're speed 2. I'm curious what happens when I stick speed 3 in there. But the calculation is that this will make 336. I was kind of aiming for 400-ish. So it's a little short, but the speed 3 should, when those go in there, that should make it work. I am curious what sort of sudden energy demand this is going to do. But what I did was, because I am consuming 168 sulfur per second, I just wanted to double check that I am producing that. And so over here right now, my first sulfur that I've tapped into, if I do a rate calculation of that, that's roughly 12,000 sulfur per second. So I definitely think I'm not 12,000, 1,200. Definitely not draining that. I am, of course, using sulfur on lots of other things. So we will need to tap into more sulfur, but we've got this huge supply over here. Holy moly, 109,000. That is a lot of sulfur. And we haven't even tapped into this one, which probably will tap into and feed into the main line as well. So we should be good. What we need to do now is play Connectaroo, and that should work as soon as I get the calcite over to this location. So, are there bots bringing calcite? Here they come. And then that lubricant will be kicked up and into there, and then to our bus. To keep these things running, I probably want to also maybe have these. Oh, do these require coal? Oh, they require coal as well. That's something I probably should. It's probably something I should have feeding in rather than having RoboPorts drop them off. Let's do that. Okay, coal is going in. They're getting what they need. Lubricant is flowing. And the only other thing I need to do is bring a coal line down over here, which I can do off that same line. How much coal do these guys consume? Rate calculator. Ooh, 67 coal. That's a lot of coal. Oh boy, that's a lot of coal. It won't be running the whole time. All right. So after thinking about it, the thing that is going to define how quickly I can manufacture the belts is how I can get gears to these things, these foundries. And I figure I can probably pump 2 gear lines into it, which would be 2 full belts, which is 120. And that's really how I should be thinking about this. 120 gears, but they needs 260, which means 120 divided by 260 is 46% uptime. And we want 46% of 800. And so we should be producing around 370 lubricant. If that is how it's going to work, then 370 lubricant, this is 336. That's pretty dang close. So I think that's where I will design around. We'll have 2 arrays producing gears, and those gears will then get put onto the bus. And we can stick those in there. We're now mass producing gears. We can, off of our make anything machine, turn the gears off. Pretty sure I was telling it to make gears. Well, we'll keep it until we get these things mass produced. Alright, the 2 gear lines are now being produced for belts. And what we want to do is see how much lava we are consuming. Right now we are consuming 4350, and one lava provider produces 1200, so 4 of them should keep that fed. Of course, I don't have steel being made yet, but that will happen soon enough. Okay, so I moved the gear plates over to this side, and they are producing gears now. We can play connectoroo, and we should be able to start getting gears pumping through the system. Those gears join the mini sort of bus and come down the line where they are siphoned off for the sole purpose of making belts. Now, the thing that's holding my belts up right now is I'm not making enough tungsten plates, which means I should make an array for tungsten plates. And I don't know where if there's any tungsten over here. I don't see any. So I could do a tungsten plate array right here and take this pipe that comes in. I am kind of curious, what are the expectations for a tungsten plate if you were to be making tungsten 0.6 a second. Okay, we have the tungsten flowing down the line, and hopefully, yeah, we got the plate coming in. Excellent news. That plate's coming over here to then get used and turn into the goodies that we like this planet for. Okay, I think that's a good stopping point for me today. I want to come down here, double check. Yeah, we've canceled that. So I think I'll call it. This is Moosetro saying thanks for tuning in, and have a good evening.